Hey guys, welcome to Undeniable Proof. I'm Matt Fraser, the psychic medium.
And I'm his wife, Alexa Fraser.
And here on this podcast, we're going to talk all about life,
love,
and the afterlife.
Yeah, but it's not going to be scary, right?
Well, I am a psychic medium.
Yeah, but I'm not here for that.
Well, I talk to dead people.
Yeah, you talk too much, which is why we're the perfect couple for a podcast. And we have a great roundup of guests who are going to be giving us a lot of advice, a lot of positivity, and sharing their undeniable proof of the afterlife. So stay tuned.
And hit subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about psychic pregnancy. We are going to be talking about Alexa being psychic. Don't get too excited. It only happened for a little bit. It was a psychic moment.
And even me being a little bit of a non-believer, believe it or not.
Oh, I don't believe that. But we also talk about how we first met.
How we first met. Is Royce psychic?
Yes.
And our entire birth story and what a spiritual experience it ended up being.
And I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
Because this is the first time that we're actually going deep and sharing behind the scenes of our life in this way. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are here because today we're going to be talking all about the signs to look for. So let me ask you, have you ever had a child that you thought was psychic? Have you ever had a situation where you saw a child that was reaching for something, grabbing for something, and nobody was there? Maybe you saw strange orbs appear. Well, today we're going to talk all about it. Royce was my first pregnancy. Obviously, I never had any kids beforehand, right? So I had no idea. I've lived like being a medium. I've lived life through other people, like seeing them and how they raise kids and whatnot. But I've heard of psychic kids through other people that I met, and people tell me their stories. But I've never experienced it firsthand. It's so different to experience psychic kids, psychic ability firsthand. And the weirdest thing, I just want to share the story, and then I want to share I want you to share your perspective. Was when I first met Alexa, had you ever been to a psychic medium before?
No.
So before I met you, never been to a psychic medium? No. Never got a reading?
I actually didn't even know what they were, what they are.
Even let me just stop. So even a fortune teller, someone who does like people who just do it for fun,
no.
On the streets.
No.
Never had a psychic reading?
Never.
Never tarot cards?
Never. Didn't even know what those were.
Magic 8 ball, shake it?
Yeah.
That was it.
I didn't know that was anything about psychic ability.
Were you ever interested in psychic ability? Did you know it existed before you met me? Or what were your honest thoughts?
So I did know when I was younger and I would watch TV, the first psychic I actually saw was Teresa Caputo on TV.
Love her.
And yep. And but I didn't really I thought it was interesting, but I was young. I was like, oh, that's cool that she can do that.
See, I love Teresa, probably because I vibe with her.
Well, you guys are similar. She has such a great approach. And it was, even as a young kid, she caught my eye. But that was the first I was introduced to a psychic, and maybe the last before you, because you have to remember you met me young. I only had one major loss in my life, which was my Grammy, which she was older, and I was younger, but it still was a major loss. Now, if you would have met me, after the passing of my stepdad, who was I lost a parent, that maybe would have been different. And maybe I would have started looking. Maybe I would if I didn't know you or have you. But no, at the time before I met you, no, I was young. I didn't have any interest in it. I was terrified. And when I tell you terrified of death, terrified. I was one of those people, and it's weird because I grew up going to church. I grew up religious. I was aware of heaven. I was aware of the Bible and things like that. But when people talked about death, I genuinely was one of those people that thought you closed your eyes, you saw black, and that was the end of life itself.
Even though you went to church?
Even though I went to church.
See, that to me,
going to Sunday school, guys. I have a cross around my neck.
Wait.
I thought you saw black. I didn't know life was eternal. I did not know that. It was so scary. I was terrified of getting sick. I was terrified of getting in a car accident. I was terrified for people that I knew that died. In high school, you hear these young kids, they get in car accidents, or people that were older than me. And I was like, oh my God, they're literally just gone. They're gone. They're not coming back. They are gone. We will never see or hear from them ever again. So you opened up a whole new lens for me that I literally did not know existed.
So is that the reason why you were so afraid of death? Because you just thought like you close your eyes, done, cease to exist?
Yes.
I gotta tell you, that's petrifying to me. Like that,
Yeah.
that
was.
to me, the fact that people can think that like
Yeah.
that, and like honestly, that's the reason why like people say to me, well, what do you think about skeptics? I honestly feel bad because every day I feel my loved ones. And you know what's interesting is like, I never really shared this, but like going back when I was a kid,
Mhm.
I always had visions of heaven. Like I had visions of
Wow.
heaven, I had visions of angels, I had
You
visions of
told
the
me
other
that
side.
before. Yeah, you've had a few like very intense, like beautiful, beautiful visions.
Oh, I had visions of my
But it's
grandmother
awful.
that died. So
Yeah.
like I always knew in my heart, in my soul, in my being that there was a heaven. Like I feel like from when I was a little child, like God gave me a validation and a proof that there was a heaven, there was an afterlife, there was another side of life.
Yeah.
And like to hear that people, to hear that people think, like, and listen, when you lose a loved one, like even me as a medium, it's heart wrenching. You know,
it changes your whole perspective
I mean, I would lose
on everything, like everything.
when I would lose, when I lost my grandmother at a young age, that was the first time, you know, I mourned. I didn't realize I was only like, you know, 3-4 years old, but still I mourned her. I had to realize she wasn't with me every day. Luckily, she came back and she visited me in spirit. Then when I lost my grandfather, that was another big loss, right? And it's like you mourn, you're upset, you're sad, but you have in your heart, even though you missed their physical presence, you have in your heart, I know that they're with me. I get signs from my grandfather.
right
I see my grandfather. I had visions of him. I know he's okay. And even though I miss his physical Are you yawning? I was just going through a very deep part of my
I'm
life.
listening. I am 7 months pregnant. I am yawning. Yes, that was a yawn.
Okay, so anyway, even though, you know, I miss his physical, you laughing at me now?
Not at you.
I can't get this out.
Okay, go. Get it out.
And you say I don't listen to you.
Yeah.
Even though I miss his physical presence, right? Like the thing is that I know he's okay. I know he's at peace. And like, that's the one thing like I want to bring people is really show people, listen, your loved ones are here. They're at peace. Like there is a heaven, there is another side. And like, this is the first time we're actually having this conversation where I didn't know you thought that. Like I did not know that.
That's true. You knew that I was afraid of death, but you didn't know why.
Was that why you were afraid?
Mm-hmm.
Because you just thought you close your eyes, you don't see anybody again, it's done.
That was it. I'm like, life is over. Like you live a life here on earth and then you do not have a life again. That is it. You are done. You're done. You're done.
So
that's what I thought.
What was interesting is that when I first met you for the first time, you asked me, Alexa and I went on a first date. We went to a coffee shop in Rhode Island, the name Coffee Connection. We met for a cup of coffee. And then you asked me like what a psychic was. And you said to me, do you remember what you said to me?
No.
Do you remember what you asked me?
Okay. I remember you saying the EMT stuff. And I was like, so are you a doctor? Like that was stupid. But
that was cringe.
Ability.
So then you said to me, I'm like, oh yeah. I was like I was telling you a little bit about myself. I'm like, but I'm a psychic. And you were like, oh, I think you said, you said, oh, so does that mean that like you can like read me now is what you said.
Okay, wait. Yes. Okay, now you jogged my memory. I said the cringiest question that I hate. Not that I hate. You don't mind it. You don't mind when people ask that. I know you don't because you love what you do and people come up to you all the time and it's so natural. They're just like, do you see anything? That's exactly what I said to you. I said, do you see anything around me right now? And I personally don't like when people say that because I just feel like now that I know you, now I know your gift and everything, I feel like it just undermines you and like, you know, tries to test you. But I guess for someone that doesn't really know, that's like the first thing you think of. Because I did ask you that. I'm like, so what are you seeing right now with me? And I honestly, I think I even like giggled a little bit. Like I didn't even expect
you did.
Like, I'm like, huh, like, what do you see? But I didn't expect you to give me a full on effing reading, which you did. And I was like, what? Like you read, I mean, you just started, it was like a switch. And I was like, and I have anxiety, guys. Like I have anxiety. I don't do well with that. I did not do well with death. I didn't know you. You were a random man in a coffee shop. And
a random man to you, but everybody else knew me. The dead and the living knew me, but to you, I was a random man in a coffee shop.
To me, I was only 19.
I was that random man in the coffee
shop.
I was that random man in the coffee shop that just so happened to be verified on Instagram, but that's okay.
Yeah, and you saw my Grammy, and you gave me such specific I'll just be quick. Like in my family.
No, tell them everything. Like, I think that you should tell them, because I don't think we have a talked about like the reading. So I remember,
yeah.
And what's interesting
the
is like
first time you ever read me. Yeah.
When I first met you for the first time, you said, "Oh, what is it that you do?" And I said, "I'm a psychic medium and whatnot." And you're like, "Oh, so like, what does that mean?" I'm like, "I see dead people." I'm like, "Oh, like, do you see anything? Like what it is?" And I actually thought it was interesting, because going into that date, from my perspective, I thought you already know who I was. I thought that you like already had like Googled me or looked me up or like knew it, so that when you were like, "Oh, can you read me?" I was like, "Oh, like this is my chance to like impress her. Like this is my chance to like," and I didn't know that I was actually going to secretly scare you, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I started having like a full-on panic attack. But so yes, so in my family, we have this little pouch. It's like a little blue pouch, and it's just some of my Grammy's things. So she had like a medal in there. She has some broken rosary beads and a couple other things, and we just keep them in there. And they just have her energy on it. I mean, they even smell like her. They have her energy on it. So in my family, on my mom's side, we pass that around. So, my cousin was going for, well, we all had something. So like when I was going for Miss Rhode Island pageant, I had the pouch with me. And it doesn't have to be like on you. Like it was just like in my wallet, in my purse. Like you could just hold on to it and know you have it. So when my cousin was going for the bar exam, he took it. When my sister was trying to pass her hairdresser exam, like she had it. Anytime someone's going through a breakup, a tough time, someone gives them, it's like the question of the group chat, who has the pouch? I need it. And then we give it to the person that needs it. So at the time, which is so crazy, I know why, because it was right after the pageant.
That's why.
I had just won the pageant and nobody needed it yet. So I was still holding on to the medals. I still had them. So I did the pageant, I won the pageant, and I had my medals. I had Grammy's medals. So when I met you, though, I had those medals. And I think I feel like it doesn't only have to do with the pageant. I feel like I had them meeting you for a reason, too.
Oh, you didn't tell me this far.
I just feel like it. Like, I just feel like we were meant to meet. I feel like we're soulmates. And I just feel like that was like my Grammy being like, I'm here too. Like, I organized this. Like, you know what I mean? That was before your Poppy died. And, we had like my Grammy rooting for us up there. But yes, so I had the pouch. You had no idea because it was, again, in my wallet, tucked away, in my bag, I had it on another table. And you started right away. Yeah, I see your grandmother behind you, kind of started light. And I'm like, oh yeah. And you got into like some specifics. But what really got me was the pouch. You were like, what is this bag you have? And you were like, it's blue and it has some things in it. And I probably turned white as a ghost.
I remember you like going, it's almost like you did like, you went like this. You went like you like kind of like bit down on your lips. I'll never forget the look that you gave me. You went, and you like nodded your head and you kind of like sucked, sucked yourself back in, like nodded your head. And then you put your hand up like, wait a minute. And then you went in your bag.
I got the bag. Yes. I went into my bag at the other table and I was like, this. And I held up the pouch and I'm like, then I explained to you, oh my God, like our family passes it around and it's like a good luck thing and just a comfort thing and all this stuff. And I think you said like a couple other things and I basically ended up like, I'm not even kidding. Like my heart was pounding out of my chest. Like I was feeling lightheaded. Like I had to go. Like I feel like our date wrapped up very quickly after that because I was so freaked out. So freaked out over that. And now I love it. And that was probably like the last reading you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I like completely read that situation wrong. Like I thought that you're gonna be like excited and like turned on. And instead you're like freaked out.
I see your Grammy. Ooh.
But no. But you know what's weird? Yeah. It's that like I truly believe doing this work that people come together for a reason. So like I feel like you wouldn't think that me and you would be a match because of the fact that you were so afraid of death, didn't know if the other side was real, didn't know if there was an afterlife. And here I am like, seeing and hearing dead people and all of these things. And
very ironic. Yeah.
Well, I remember
like how did this happen? Yeah.
I remember when I first invited you to come to one of my events and like you left after 10 minutes. You couldn't even be in the room because you were so afraid of talking about death and dying and like hearing about how people died. Like
sickness and I was not comfortable. I remember shaking. I think I was like on my phone the whole time. Like I was sitting there, I was like picking my nails. I was like on my phone. Like I was like trying to do everything I could to like not hear what was going on. And now it's so different. But at the beginning, It took me a while. I will say it took me a lot to adjust to your gift. It did, because I've always had anxiety, so I always grew up with anxiety, but death anxiety and anxiety over sickness and dying and stuff was my major worry. So, very funny how you just popped in and it's like the girl who's terrified of death has a boyfriend that speaks to the dead. Like,
But I think that that's like what it was supposed to be like. I think that was
Oh, of
supposed to be a
course.
journey that was supposed to go on.
Of course.
The weirdest thing about your pregnancy, I think, is like I've seen something that like most men, I'm gonna have to like write a blog about this because like there's nothing in the manual that talks about psychic pregnancy. And I didn't even know that this was a thing.
People go through this, but
I didn't think this was a thing until it became a thing. So here's the thing that like
yeah, I don't think normal people have to think about this. I just like.
all right, so we know that psychic ability can be handed down through generations, right? Like, you know, you might have it, then your son might have it, then your daughter might have it, so on and so forth. But the weird part about all of this is the fact of what happened like when you first became pregnant. Like it was weird because like here's Alexa, like in the beginning when I first met her, you know, and we first had our relationship with one another, like you weren't sure if heaven was real. You weren't sure if the afterlife is real. You had this fear of death. You didn't quite understand what I did. You like asked me all these questions, like, how do you do what you do? How do you, like, I felt like I lived with a news reporter. How did you do it? How did you know this? How did you see this? What else is coming to you? And like, you were kind of like trying to unpack my gift and put it together.
I still do that.
And you do still do that. And, you know, it's funny because like when we'd go to places, you would ask me for like my opinion and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then when Alexa became pregnant with Royce, the weird part that happened with you that I noticed is that you would start to say things and they would come true.
Yes.
And it was something that only happened during pregnancy.
Yep.
It happened for a short time.
Yep.
And it was the point where when you first said something, it was like, oh, that's just a coincidence. And like, even though I don't believe in coincidence, I'm like, oh, that's kind of odd.
That's weird.
That's weird. Like, that's interesting. Like, for example, I'm going to share with you. So I'll never forget, we were in Florida.
Yep.
And we were in Florida and there's this building that is next to us in Florida. And like the property manager like doesn't take care of it and whatnot.
Well, and Matt and I are like, our hobby is like real estate.
Yes.
Like design and stuff like.
We love interior
We pay
design.
attention to like buildings and design and things like that.
And we're always pointing things out to one another.
Yeah.
And like, you know, if you live in Florida, if you live in West Palm Beach or in Palm Beach or whatever, you'll know that everything's always changing. Like you go there one season and the skyline looks different the next season. So Alexa and I...
This building in particular was there forever. Like forever.
So there's this building by our building and it was like, honestly, like just shitty. And...
Run down.
It was run down. The guy didn't take care of it. He was older.
He was just ugly.
So anyways,
on the water.
So our condo association actually went and offered to buy it. And the guy straight out refused and said, I am not selling this. Like, this is my retirement. I am like doing whatever. So the condo association was like, okay, well, if you are going to sell it, like, let us know. We'll give we'll give you first offer. So we're coming down. Alexa's like, you know, she's pointing to the building and she's like, I just feel like that building isn't going to be there. And I'm like, no.
I'm like, they need to, I don't even think I
What'd you say?
predicted anything. I just looked and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm like.
They should bulldoze it down.
I'm like, this one needs to just be knocked down. It was just so casual. We were just driving by it because we live like on the water. And I'm like, look at this. Like, I mean, my God, like they can't, everything around us has been building up so beautifully. And I'm like, look at this place. Like, really?
And I remember saying to you, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm like, the condo association already made an offer. This guy's old, like it's just retirement. It's like old money. It's not gonna happen.
2 days later, we're driving down, and
the bulldozers are there.
The bulldozers are there,
and we're like,
the place is coming apart. They're about to demo it, and we're like, what?
But we were like, that's at that time we just thought it was a coincidence. It's like, oh, that's so weird that Alexa was just talking about that.
It's been here forever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, why the day that I said like, oh, this could go, it goes. Like, what?
Then the weird part is that like, okay, so that's all set. Then I was like, at the time, like I was going and it was COVID and I was like planning on doing a podcast like we're doing right now. And I was looking for an office space to like go and to shoot some things and whatnot. And I remember like, this was right before COVID happened, before the craziness. And Alexa and I went with one another to this, office space to go and look.
Yeah.
And we walked in and I was like, wow, like this is awesome. And I'm looking at Alexa and she's like, and Alexa like is not the type of person who like cares about real estate, like looks at real estate. Like at that point, you like weren't really into it. You kind of just were like tagging along. I don't think you even wanted to come. And she came and she was looking at this place and she's like, wow, the energy is so great in here. There's such a light vibe and a light energy. And it was like an empty space. And I'm thinking to myself, like, since when do you read energy? Like, when?
Yeah, but that
Like, that's
wasn't when I
not.
was pregnant.
That was when you were pregnant.
Mm-mm.
No, you were pregnant. We didn't know at the time.
No.
I'm telling you, you got pregnancy brain.
I do.
I'm telling you, it was when you were pregnant. You came because then that's when I said to you, I'm like, that's like not what you would say. I'm like, it's because you're pregnant.
Yeah, there's been a few that building one specifically. Maybe I'm just psychic in real estate when I'm pregnant. Like, what is that?
No, it's like there was so many different
There's
like
a lot of things that I just know when I'm pregnant.
when you're pregnant. It hasn't happened so much with Rowan, but with Royce especially, when you were pregnant, Alexa would just say things and they would start to happen.
Or the psychic would ask me, like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, I know.
I felt like the roles were reversed.
Like,
I did.
Sometimes I would like read you, like I'm like, oh, I knew that, like, or whatever. I would like explain something, and you're like, how did you know that? And I'm like, I don't know, actually. I just know.
It was the
You're like, that's how it works for me.
It was the craziest thing in the world. It was the craziest thing in the world. And then like after you had Royce, it just stopped.
Yeah.
The vision stopped. Like everything kind of like stopped, and like you didn't like talk about that anymore.
No, because nothing else happened after. It was no more premonitions, no more knowing.
And I think that was my first sign. I think that was the first sign that I got that I knew that like Royce was going to be a special child. So many people have been asking me about Royce and about, is your son psychic? Have you seen any signs? What have you seen? And what's weird is that being a medium and connecting with the dead every single day, I see signs, right? But I don't think that I see them the same way that you do. Like, it's weird. Like, your mom has come to me and said that she saw some signs. Yeah. And I feel like I can talk about signs all day long. But really, you being the mom and knowing Royce the way that you do.
Yeah.
Have you seen any signs of Royce being psychic?
100%. Yep, absolutely. So with Royce, he has not said, so Royce can talk, but he's not verbalized over there, someone there, Grammy, Poppy, like nothing like that. But I have seen him on the monitor, because I'll watch that monitor all night. I have seen him on the monitor wake up. He wakes up from like night terrors a little bit sometimes, or sleepwalks. I think that has to do with psychic ability. I do. I think him waking up out of a sound sleep, and I even showed you got to see it for the first time the other night, him reaching. Remember, he was reaching out of the bed. So that is something I've seen. That's definitely a sign. And two, I see a lot of your personality in him, in a lot of what makes you psychic in him.
What do you mean? So what makes me psychic? I don't even know what makes me psychic.
So no, not
because I live it every day. Like,
I know. I'm trying to think. Sometimes I don't have a great way of explaining things, but let me just put the examples out there then. So you are very sensitive, very, very sensitive, and I am too. But you are on a totally different level. And I think your psychic ability has a lot to do with that, because you're able to feel on such a deep level, deeper than anyone without the gift, deeper than me. So I see that in Royce. I see a very deep, deep, deep sensitivity that goes down to the soul. And like, that's what you have. And it's different. Like, you can say like, I believe that I'm empathetic and, I'm very sensitive and I cry and I feel for others and I care for others. And it's like a passion of mine to care for others as well. But there's something about you and Royce's sensitivity that when I tell you goes to the soul, it goes to the soul. That baby is a different soul, just like you. It like stands out. It stands out.
Well, you know what? You actually were the one who alerted that to me. And you know what's weird? It's like being a medium and doing what I do, I don't realize that I'm different because it's just me, right? It's like, for example, if I ask you, how do you walk? And you're like, I don't know. I just stand up. I put one foot in front of the other. You just do it. Like being a medium, I don't know how I do what I do. I don't know how I get there. Like it just happens to me. I get visions. I feel, I sense. And it's weird because like, being a dad has really changed me, like looking at Royce and looking at things from a psychic perspective because the other side will tell me things about like children being psychic, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it during visions. I've seen it during readings. I can sense when another child is psychic. Like I definitely know that Royce sees his people.
Yes.
But the weird part is living it as a dad. Like that's the weird part. Like let me put it into perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
first
have
of all,
something as well to add to that, but yes.
so first of all, I want everyone to know out there, you know, all of you who are watching, that all children grow up, right, with the ability to sense and feel the spirit world. So before we're even born here in this world, we start off as a soul in heaven. Our soul is created in heaven. And when we spend that time in heaven, we meet our spirit guide, our guardian angel, we meet our family members, we meet our pets. Our soul is born into our body.
I wish we could remember that in a way. Like
Well, we do when we die, which is weird.
My God.
When we,
what?
yeah, when we die, we actually
This
see.
is crazy.
Isn't it weird to think about?
This is news to me.
So when you
Oh my
die
God.
and we get back to heaven, it's like one big circle. Like you get back to heaven and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like this is like, I've been here. I know this place. It's almost like if you went to visit your old kindergarten or your old school and you're like, this smell smells familiar. Wait, this room seems familiar.
What?
That's what happens. So all children, right, between the ages of like, you know, 1 and 3 will have experiences where they'll have souls come to visit, where, you know, they'll smile at someone that's not there, interact with someone, maybe get nervous of a soul that's there, right? And you can
My
see
jaw's
them.
on the floor.
So
That's
this is
so crazy.
this is what I'm
my
taught
God.
by the spirit worlds every day, right? When I'm doing readings and I'm seeing this. But it's very different to be a dad, and it's very different to actually watch your son going through it. And now I'm learning things that you brought into perspective. For example, Alexa, I'll never forget this. Alexa like called me into the living room not too long ago, and she was like, Matt, you got to see this, you got to see this. And like Royce was like, and I'm like, what's going on? And you showed Royce the video of his birth.
That I made of him. Yeah, with the emotional music, us cuddling when he first came out of the womb. And he started bawling his eyes out to that video.
But not as scared. Not as scared.
Not scared. It was sensitive. It
Like-
was welling up. It was like he could feel the love that like I have for him, you have for him. Like in that video, he could. It's beyond comprehension. There's no way a 2-year-old. Now, do I think that 2-year-olds and toddlers have empathy? Of course I do. Of course. Every little soul is special and has their gifts and empathetic and, you know, but he is it's just different. It's just different. It's a knowing. It's a different kind of sensitivity. I mean, he looked at that video, he watched it, he bursted into tears and he hugged me. How do you at 2 know that is an emotional video? And like, I feel like he felt the feelings on such a deep level. And
I think that's how kids know, right? I think that how children know is this. Children know in the beginning that they're psychic because they immediately in the beginning think that they're just empathic, right? Yeah. They are really super sensitive. A lot of times these children, I myself had issues in school. I had issues in school because, you know, I was sensing and feeling people on a different level. I would feel people's pain. I could feel, you know, other kids when they were happy, when they were sad. I used to get nervous, you know, when other kids used to cry or get upset or get agitated. I remember that used to affect me so much.
Yes.
Because I was feeling that energy. And, you know,
Orbs does that too, actually.
He does.
When there's other babies crying, he like kind of like alert, like he
has that
feels something.
Yeah, that knowingness. It's like a super sensitivity. Yes. But like you alerted that to me with that video that, you know, Alexa had like all these videos. I mean, you had videos of, you know, everyone together, the family being around him, singing happy birthday, and he got emotional.
Yes.
I mean, that's really was a telltale sign.
Him like walking and crawling for the first time. It was like a compilation.
Compilation. I can never say that word. I
always say contemplation if my mom is correct. She's like, it's not that, but okay. No, it's amazing. And I have to say, now that he's getting a bit older and he is just so aware, I feel like way more aware than like a 2-year-old should be. But that's how you are. You are very aware in your memory, your ability to remember things is literally like something I have I mean, you remember things from I feel like half of the things you weren't even there for. I don't even know how you know them, remember them. It's amazing.
You know what's weird?
Royce is
Wait.
like that too.
Let me explain that, being psychic, because I don't feel like even to like you guys who are my followers, like I never really talk about this, but what's weird is that I don't really have a great memory, even though you think that I do. And I'm gonna, no, it's true. It's true. I'm gonna tell you why. Like I have a hard time remembering like what the hell I ate for breakfast yesterday. But the weird part is that if there's something important that's coming up in my life, right? If there's something that happened 7 years ago, like I remember being in certain moments and being psychic, there's times where I'll hear spirit say to me, keep an eye on this. This is going to be important.
We just talked about this yesterday. You were saying they'll give you notes sometimes.
Right.
At like a ding, almost like, okay, like this is the moment, like you need to remember right now. You don't know why yet. You won't know yet, but it's coming.
That's what happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Being psychic, and it drives me crazy because it's like almost like, you know, when you're in
It's
class.
Like, why? I don't have patience. I'd be like, why? Why do I have
That, well, that's what I feel, right?
Like, how long do I have to wait for this on cover?
How many times are you in school? Like, it's almost like when you were in school and like in high school and your teacher like would give you like the little nudge and be like, hey, keep an eye on that. That's going to be on the next quiz. Or, hey, that might be on the next quiz.
Yeah.
That's how I feel as a medium, because there's sometimes when I'll be alerted to things and it'll be like something really what I think is like nothing or stupid or not going to mean anything. Significant. Yeah. That's the word. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my God, like, why did that happen? And I'll hear like, okay, keep an eye on this. This is going to mean something later on. And it might not mean something until 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later on.
I'm sorry. I am not that type of person. Thank God I'm not psychic. Because nope, I have no patience. I would be asking them every day, you better tell me like what that was about, because I'm not living the next 10 years, 15 years, not knowing what this means.
Yeah, but being psychic, you forget about it. Like I forget.
Oh yeah, okay.
I forget. Yeah. Like they'll say, make a mental note of this. And then I'll make a mental note and I'll forget about it, right? And then 5 years later, something will happen. I'll be like, holy shit. Because remember, and we just had this conversation about something personal that had come up and I told you, and I'm like.
It like comes when it needs to.
It comes when it needs to.
So weird. That's crazy.
What's really crazy too is like just seeing it, how like, because people ask me all the time, like, is it hereditary? Does it run? And one of the coolest things that I've experienced as a medium, because I don't know everything there is to know about the other side. You know, I tell that to you every day. I'm learning. Yeah. Like even right now I'm learning, you know, about my own child and being psychic, just like you, right? And if Royce holds on to that gift or he lets it go, like, he might be he might turn 5 years old and the ability goes away. You don't know. Oh I don't know. I honestly don't know. And the funny part is that like we've had some weird experiences, you guys. Yeah. Like even your mom. Like, what was your mom just saying the other day where she was at the house and she was like seeing the orbs?
Our house?
Yes.
Yes. My mom is constantly seeing orbs on his monitor because my mom watches Royce's monitor like it's a movie. I'm like, Mom, he's fine. Like, you don't have to stare at it when she stays over when you're on tour. And she's like, I just love to just watch it. Like, she literally just like watches and breathe. And she will always tell me, she's like, but something floated by. Like, I keep seeing these things go right by him. She's like, this is like crazy. And sometimes I'll see them. Sometimes I won't. You know, it depends when I'm looking. But yeah, he's got to have something, whether he keeps it, whether he doesn't, and we don't know, he might be afraid of it at some point. Maybe it hasn't even developed fully yet. And maybe he's going to start seeing figures and things like you. And that's when he cries. And I'm going to say, wrong parent. That is not me. Go get daddy because mommy is very scared right now. And mommy doesn't do this. Mommy's not psychic. So I don't know who you're pointing at and who's behind me. Go get dad.
Well, the weird part is that, and I thought this was weird, right? Is that when your mom comes over, she sees orbs on the monitor. Yes. My mom came over the other day and babysat. My mom saw orbs on the monitor, and my mom was like,
she?
I didn't tell you this?
That.
No. So I thought you were there. Okay, so you must have been talking to my dad. So
I must have been.
I was in the bathroom like going and brushing my teeth because we just got back from dinner. My mom came in and she's like, hey, do you ever see orbs on the monitor? So I go, no. I'm like, but Sharon does, Alexa's mom. And my mom was like, the whole time I saw orbs around Royce. And it's weird because when I look at the monitor, I don't see them. Do you see them?
No, I don't. My mom will point like she'll be like, oh my God, I just saw another one. And I'll try to look and it's like almost like a shooting star. Like you don't, it's like you either see it or you don't. But yeah, no, I personally, without her saying it, have never caught one. But I have caught him waking up in the middle of the night. I get a lot of those in the reaching. The reaching is what.
That's freaky. I got to tell you, because that reminds me of when I was a little kid. So like, You guys.
That's why I'm wondering if it's like getting stronger or.
Well, first of all, let's talk about orbs. Orbs are when souls come to visit us, right? So because we can't see them like you can see me and you, right? Or we can see each other. What happens is that the camera picks up on energy, right? So when souls come to visit, a lot of times it just looks like floating orbs, almost like Glinda in The Wizard of Oz, right?
Oh,
you have that.
My God, that's
you have that orb that just floats and is there. So those orbs could be the energy of passed over loved ones, angels, spirit guides. Normally it's loved ones that come to check up on children.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we can't see them with our naked eye, but cameras can pick up on that energy, which is the reason why Royce was having
Never
those.
See like an orb. You know what?
Well, some people do. Wait, some people do. It depends on how like psychic you are and sensitive you are. Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Right. But what the weird part is that like I remember when I was a little kid, the souls would come to me because like anytime I was alone, which primarily was at night, or like if I was downstairs playing in my playroom, weird things would start to happen, right? I would hear a whisper, I'd hear someone call my name, I would wake up and I would see souls that were there like above my bed.
Oh God, no.
But Royce is doing something that I never did as a kid, which is really weird. And he forgets he's doing this. And it's almost like a sleepwalking type thing.
Yeah, we always say that. Yeah, we think he's like a sleepwalker.
It's like, it's crazy because like, and this is like where me and you have been like, kind of like trying to figure it out. Like, okay, so Royce has been doing this thing where he reaches, where like, it'll be 3 in the morning.
Yes.
He'll wake up out of a sound sleep. He'll get up, he'll look around in his room.
Cry a little bit. Yep.
He'll cry.
Just look. Yeah.
He'll look in his room side to side. And then all of a sudden he'll kind of make like turn his head and look at something. And then all of a sudden he'll start reaching. And be like, and like reaching. And he's,
Freaks me out.
What?
Freaks me out.
Well, it's weird because I
don't like it.
I listen to the monitor. I'm waiting for him to say like, Mom, Dad,
no,
you know, Gaga, like someone that he knows. And he's just like reaching out to this person.
He doesn't say anything.
And it's not like he's coming to get us. Like Royce knows that we can hear him on that monitor. So he knows like if he says Mom or Dad that we're going to come running.
We're coming. Yeah.
And he doesn't.
No. You know what else he's done too that's very interesting? So with my stepdad, Anthony, who passed last year, my mom got an 1111 tattoo. It's a sign from him on her arm. And Royce does not know what a tattoo is. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know that he looked at my mom's arm and he said, Pop Pop? And he'll point to the 1111 and he says, Pop Pop. And she used to wear his wedding ring around her. She made a necklace out of it. And he used to point to that too and say, Pop Pop. And it's like he knows Anthony, even though he was just 1 when Anthony got sick and passed. He was literally 1. And he knows Poppy. He will go. Poppy died in 2018. Like Royce wasn't even conceived. He wasn't even a thought. And it's like he picks up that picture of Poppy. He's been doing that ever since he was little. And he stares like, I know this man. And he's not scared. Like he's like, and we'll say, oh, Poppy. But no, like we don't even have to say that. He knows who that is.
Yeah,
he knows who Anthony is. Like
it's crazy.
No, he has no, it's like he's very comfortable.
Well, the thing is that when it comes to that too, right? I mean, think about it. I say it all the time when I'm doing readings, is that children will respond to photos of past loved ones. And it's weird that, meaning that like when because they remember this time, because they're new souls, like Royce is only 2 years old.
Yep.
So before his time on earth, he spent time in heaven. So obviously he's looking at these faces like Pop Pop, which was your stepfather, Poppy, who was my grandfather and my best friend, right? He's looking at these pictures and these faces are familiar. But
right, that's what it is. It's like, he looks at them and he's like, oh yeah, like
I know who that is.
I know who that is. Yeah. And we're like, huh?
And what's really weird, and I think what's kind of going to be like bittersweet, and it's weird like when you teach as a medium and then you experience this as a medium, right? Is that one day I'm willing to bet, this is like a little experiment, but I'm willing to bet that those faces kind of fade away.
Oh.
Like he doesn't really, like I bet you one day as he gets older and he becomes more aware of the actual physical beings, like the kids in his classroom, friends, things like that.
Okay.
I bet you any money that he doesn't familiarize himself anymore with these people. Like he's not going to know that that's Pop Pop or that's Pop, or like he's, you know what I'm saying?
Because he's so close to it right now because he just met them.
He just met them.
He was just handed to us by them. Like,
right.
You know? Yeah. So it's more, he recognizes now, but then as he gets older, he's like, no, I don't, they pass. And then when we explain like, yeah, they passed before you were born, or, they passed when you were young. And then he starts to understand, yeah, physical beings, like you're saying. But what's really crazy is that it's interesting because let's talk pregnancy, right? Like, so it's funny because how did Royce get psychic, right? Is it because I have your DNA in me? And well,
that sounds so weird. That sounds so creepy.
Yucky, but we all know.
There's gonna be like a better way to
how a baby is made. But your DNA is it. We both made a child, right? So your DNA is in me. I'm using it. My body's using it to make him. You know, he's 50% you, 50% me.
Why do women have to talk about how babies are made? Like, why do we have like to talk about the DNA? You know that's like not sexy to a man. Like, you have to be like,
I'm not gonna listen.
Now you're uncomfortable. So you just made me uncomfortable. Now you're uncomfortable.
No, because it can get dirty, and I'm not gonna get dirty. Like I'm talking science, like scientific.
Oh, excuse me.
So is he psychic because you gave me some DNA? It's forming our child. Is it your DNA that came in, helped build the brain, helped build the child, however our psychic ability is formed, and then we gave birth? Like, it's so crazy because I swear I am psychic when I'm pregnant.
No, I know you are.
Where?
Wait, we got to talk about this because like, I don't think this is something we talked about before. Like, all right. So first of all, to answer your question, spiritual DNA, that's what I think of. Like there's a DNA that's like, I believe there's a DNA, like a scientific DNA, obviously that like, shapes who we are.
Yeah.
Right. That connects us through blood, but there's also like a spiritual DNA as well. Like it's weird because if you look back through my family history, my grandmother was psychic. My mom is psychic. We know that that's where it came from. Right. I'm psychic, but it skipped a generation. My sister couldn't figure out the whole psychic ability because my sister never grew up seeing and hearing spirit, never grew up that she remembers, right? Never grew up, having visions, was never strong with her. And even to this day, like people, when they find out she's my sister, will say to her, oh my God, can you give me a reading? Oh my God. And like people will still say to her, like at work and different places, like they'll be like, Maria, I really need help with this situation. I really need it. Like, is there something you can give me? And my sister's like, but I'm not my brother. They're like, but you're related.
But see, and here's the thing with Maria as well. I love my sister-in-law and she is such a sweet soul as well. Like Maria has a very gentle heart. She's sensitive. She's empathetic. She's very caring, but it's different than yours. It's different than Royce's. It's so different. Not that she's not a good person. She is. I adore her. But she has an amazing heart. It's just different. It's different than the psychic.
Well, it's different. My sister, and we all have different gifts, right? But my sister's very analytical. Like my sister's an accountant. Yes. My sister's an accountant. She's amazing. She works for, the head of a corporation. She's great at what she does, but she's got that very analytical mind. And it's just interesting that like,
different, like you guys are. But that makes me think now we have Rowan's in my belly, and it might skip him entirely and he might be a totally different.
I didn't think about that till you just said it. What's so weird is I didn't even,
Hopefully he doesn't have it because then me and Rowan can at least have a conversation. I've always said to Matt, I'm like, watch, all of our freaking kids are going to be psychic. No one's going to have to speak around the dinner table. You're all just going to contact telepathically and everyone's going to gang up on me.
But wait.
The not psychic mom. And like our kids are all going to be psychic with their dad.
The one thing I learned.
Hopefully Rowan's team mom. Team ignorant. Team like doesn't know anything.
How has you thinking about like life after death and the afterlife like changed from like, because obviously like not just being with me, but like actually having all of these moments?
I am a completely different person. I am completely changed. As I've gotten older, I've gotten extremely religious. And after actually giving birth, I swear I've gotten even more religious after losing my stepdad. And I say religious meaning like I've just been so open to heaven and to signs and to symbols and to like, when you talk now, like I really listen. Like I really, really, really take everything into account and I really listen and I pay attention and I'm just more open to it and I'm not as scared. I mean, listen, I think death is always going to be a fear of mine. Just like, I don't care if we have 10 kids. I think I'm going to be scared of birth. Everyone knows I'm like terrified of birth. Death is scary. You know, you have so much here. We have so much here. We just don't want to leave it. But I do feel so much better about it now. I do. And I think it helped me cope with Anthony's death, my stepdad, a lot more because he was like a dad to me. And to lose him, I mean, it was losing a parent. And that was hands down the hardest death I've ever had to. And I still don't think I've accepted it and I've grieved entirely with it yet, but I'm learning and it's getting easier, much easier. And yeah, I'm opening myself up to it more where I've been very closed before. And it's very interesting.
But you know what's interesting too? It's
very
like
comforting.
On the other end of things, like me seeing you and this transformation that has taken place, it's amazing to see how like, this is like what I really want people to know is like when you start to open yourself up to the signs, the possibility of life after death, the possibility that your loved ones are there, just start to open your mind to it and you start to kind of go down that rabbit hole and explore. Like people say to me all the time, Matt, I've seen you on YouTube. I watch your stuff. And now all of these things started to happen.
Yes.
Like, it's not just about what happens with you. It's about what happens around you. Like, for example, like that happened with Royce, right?
Yep.
Now we're like trying to get pregnant. Like we had, like, obviously it took us a while to have the second baby. Our plan was to wait till Royce turned 1. Then we would try again for another baby, which is what we did. So now that we tried again, we thought that it was going to come really quickly. Again, we were wrong. It did not come very quickly.
No.
But
it took like a year.
It took a year.
Yeah.
But, you know, just as we were starting to give up, your stepsister, Carly, had a dream.
She did. Yep. Just when we were getting like, oh my God, how much longer can we do of this? Are we okay? I went for like testing. You were about to go for testing. Like,
no, I did go for testing.
But even more like after that, like after those results, like you were like, wait, should I get this? Like, should I start seeing specialists and things like that? Or can we wait this out? Like how long? And everyone would tell us, well, guys, like it does take time. And we're like, yeah, but Royce came so quick. And we just really, I mean, we really were like hitting it rough. And then my stepdad passed and it was just like, it was a really tough time. But come July, fast forward to this past July, I was on the couch and I was home alone. And I remember texting you and I said, Matt, I don't know. I have like a little bit of anxiety today. Royce was at school and I'm like, I'm just home and I don't know. I'm just like pacing. I just feel weird. Like I just feel, I don't know. I feel like a lot of anxiety today. So I remember you telling me, why don't you just order yourself a coffee? Like order yourself a coffee, get on the couch, just relax for a minute. Like when do you do that? So I'm like, you know what? You're right. So on the couch, I DoorDashed like a coffee and then I like DoorDashed a little lunch and it was like chicken tenders. And I remember they were like the best chicken tenders I've ever had in my life. And it was Sonic. So I'm like, how are these the best chicken tenders I've ever had in my life? So I'm like, wait, that's weird. I'm like, that's really weird. Like, why do I feel this? And I remember in my head at that moment, I'm sitting on the couch, I'm looking at the wall and I hear something in my head go take a test, go take a pregnancy test. I was not anywhere close to my period. I was not missing my period. I wasn't anywhere close to pregnancy whatsoever. I mean, no signs, nothing at all. And I went into the bathroom, positive pregnancy test. And I was shocked because again, I was nowhere near my period, nowhere near a missed period. Like I would have had to wait like 2 weeks to figure out if I was pregnant, 2 or 3 weeks. So I found out super early. And when
you called me on the road. I
called you on the road. Ricardo and Sean were like high-fiving. We were like so excited. I was like, Matt, I know why I've been crazy. And I ended up, we told our immediate family. And I remember telling my stepsister, Carly, and I'm like, Carly, you won't believe it. Like, look. And I showed her like the t-shirt that I got. It said brother and like, you know, the positive test. And she was like, wait. She's like, this is insane. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't know if Ava, my sister, told you. She's like, but she just did my hair yesterday. And I was just telling her about a dream that I had a couple nights ago. And it was of my dad. And we were all by a pool that I don't recognize. And he was like dressed up, like he had his jeans on and his t-shirt and like a hat on. And just like he would here. but he was rocking a baby and he was singing Barry Manilow, specifically a song.
Can't get enough
of your love, baby.
Yeah, I think that's very.
Or no.
Yeah, Barry White.
Barry White.
I think.
Can't get enough of your love, babe. And he's singing and rocking. My stepdad loved to sing.
No, wait, is that Marvin Gaye? Who is that?
Gaye.
Who the hell sings that?
I don't know. Look it up.
I gotta look it up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and he specifically was singing that song in that outfit and rocking a baby. And she goes, I knew he was rocking a baby and I could see a baby. She goes, but I didn't know whose baby it was. And
Barry White.
Barry White.
Barry White.
Yeah. Iconic. So anyways, that was the story. And she ended up having the dream this time around. So I thought that was really cool. And, I get very anxious when it comes to pregnancy and health and, hospitals and doctors and, and it was actually right after my stepdad passed pretty much. It was a year and I was still really grieving health, health related things and scary stuff and traumatic events and all this stuff. And I remember being so anxious, but as soon as she told me about that dream, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Yep. Anthony's got my baby and everything was good. As soon as I heard that dream, I'm like, wow, it was like a breath. I took a deep breath. And every time I got nervous about my pregnancy and, is this baby going to be okay? I remember I was trembling in the office.
Oh my God.
I was like, Matt, why am I so nervous? And you're like, you're fine. It's just, it brings back memories. Every time I would think of Carly's dream, I would go, oh, that's right. Anthony has my baby. We're good. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing that I want people to know too, is that sometimes the signs come to us through other people, which is completely fine. That's also a sign. And you getting that sign from Carly that, she was the one who got that dream to call you to say, my dad just showed me him rocking a baby. Yeah. This is, and showing me that it was your baby.
Yeah.
That's a sign.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
And it came at a time when we really needed it.
That would be a visitation for her, wouldn't it? Would that be a visitation dream?
It's a visitation for her, but also a visitation for us. Souls will come through, and not only will they come through and show us certain things that are going to happen, but they always bring through messages, showing us a baby that's going to be born, something that's going to happen within the family, letting us know that it's going to be okay, while we go in for operation or whatever we're fearing, right? Because your loved ones can feel what you feel. They know when you're sad, when you're scared, when you're anxious, when you're nervous, all of those things your loved ones feel and sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they try to calm us down. I think that just kind of shows us that they're trying to say okay, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. And for me as a medium, I can tell you that I always take advantage of those little hints that they give us. Those little hints that everything's gonna be okay. Any of those coincidences, any of those things I put together in a picture. I know that there is no such a thing as a coincidence. And even as we're telling these stories, it's weird to kind of sit back and talk and to see how kind of all these connections come together.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful. I mean, I will say when you start believing, because I don't want to say I was not a non-believer. I wasn't a skeptic, but I just didn't know enough. And when you open that part of your mind and you listen and recognize and really open your eyes to it, it's a whole different life. And
it's like an inner peace. It's almost like a safety net.
Yes.
That when you can't see things for yourself, when you can't see what's going to happen, when you're nervous, when you're scared, when you're sad, when you're all these things, don't worry, because heaven has you. There's someone in heaven that's there. There's someone in heaven that's looking after you. There's someone in heaven that is going to watch over you and protect you.
I truly feel that. And I've learned so much from you that it's not even just our loved ones that have died. We have spirit guides. We have angels, guardian angels, spirit guides, loved ones. I just told you the other day, remember, I'm so we have a team. We have a team behind us up there. I didn't know that. I did not know. I honestly think I found that out last week from you, because I'm wait, we have this? Remember I was asking you?
How could I forget?
And wait, aren't they this? And they're watching us too? And those people help us? And you're yeah. And I'm we have a soccer team up there, helping us, each and every person on this planet.
I can tell you, I'm excited and nervous. This is so different.
I am excited for you. I am so excited about this podcast, and I'm so excited that you're going to be in this. This is so different and interesting for you.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here and being with us. Make sure to like and subscribe because I'm going to be posting new episodes bi-weekly. So make sure that you're subscribed. Undeniable Proof, where we talk about heaven, the afterlife, and so much more. I'll see you next podcast.